1 2 1 2. Microphone. Hello. Hello, John. Hello, Chris. Hello, Hello, Dean. Can everyone hear sound? Hello, Seb. Hello, SGT, Pelua. Relax Max. Moon Diggers. Hello. How is everyone? Good, good, good. Hello, Konstantin from Denmark. It's this time again, Techno. Yes. Thank you, Polyboy. Sounds good. Jax, why does STFU envelope on kick and bass not sound clean and tight? There's a click, and I have shaped the end of the wave to taper down. I don't know. Shaping the end should do the trick. So that would indicate that somewhere else there is an instant change in level, creating a temporary square wave. That's where your click comes from. Hello, Ripper. Hello, Abraham. Hello, Nick. Hello, Menuru. The only other thing I can think of, Jax, is that some other plugin in the chain is not reporting its latency correctly. Therefore, the timing that STFU is making is actually not what you're seeing. It's off somewhere. That can happen. Certain plugins don't report their latency correctly to the host, and you can end up with things out of time. Hello, Souch. What time is it in California? It's really early, right? Halfway around the globe. Abraham wondered if I was streaming today, and boom. Yes, I'm semi-consistent. I've only missed one Sunday at the end of the month. I nearly missed this one as well. Oh wow, hello SGT Toxic, thank you for the coffee funds. Thank you. £5, much appreciated. Thank you very much. Oh, 10 a.m. in California, that's not too bad. I can handle 10 a.m. Not much earlier though. I like to go to bed around 3 a.m. Yeah, I'm not sure what that would be, Jax. If it's just a compressor EQ. Interesting. Ripper C, is it another plugin or the same chain that's creating the click? Right, yeah. Talking about the same thing to Jax. It's a good question. I take it when STFU is not on the plugin, it doesn't click. No, I haven't done my Black Friday video yet. This live stream might actually make up some of the research towards that, actually. I did have a few people ask. Yes, we might end up doing some shopping this tonight, because I haven't had time to do any research. The problem is, I solved all my problems years ago, so I just don't go looking for new plugins anymore. I keep I'm subscribed to the email on Bedroom Producers blog. Let's have a look. Which is kind of my most reliable source for free plugins. Stanley, I'll get to your question in a minute. It is an important one, especially when trying to be professional. So we'll certainly be doing some, as is my brand, if you want to call it that, we'll certainly be doing some free plugin research, if not the sales. Obviously, we need to go to Plugin Boutique. Plugin Boutique. Words are hard. You know, one of the hardest things I have to do is enunciate correctly, being a Northern England born chap, because we don't talk very clearly. If you weren't from the north of England and you heard me chat with my friends, you'd be hard pressed to hear a lot of the words. It's very hard to concentrate on enunciating and what was that question I just saw? Ted, is STFU better than using Ableton Shaper for utility volume? If I remember rightly, Ableton Shaper is actually a MIDI device, isn't it? Remind me. Oh, yeah, it's just like an LFO. Well, the interface is worse, isn't it? It's a bit less... I've already forgotten how to use it. How do you delete nodes? Obviously, we would put this against a utility or something. And so we don't get blasted by volume. This needs to be 50%. Hello, Snapjaw. Oh, you've had a newborn. Unlucky. Sorry, that's a terrible thing to say. I mean, unlucky in terms of your Ableton learning progress. Sorry. No, congratulations on the baby. I'm the worst man in the world. I just said unlucky when someone told me they had a... Hello. My accent sounds southern. Toxic. No, well, when I'm trying to enunciate, I think people who talk properly sound more south, don't they? No, proper northern. Well, not that bad, maybe, but Lancashire born, Yorkshire living. So we abbreviate many words. So instead of saying I'm going on holiday, it'd be I'm going tholiday. Hey, Chris Swift's Yorkshire crew. I'm not full Yorkshire. I don't say put wood in thole. Like, that was a saying I never grew up with. Put wood in thole, that means shut the door. To proper Yorkshire persons. Yeah, I'll come back to this shaper thing in a minute. Whoa! Why is that? Why was that so loud at 0? I'm just going to delete those. STFU, I would prefer the shaper, I think. A bit quicker to set up, a bit quicker, easy to use, but technically they're not doing anything different. Sorry, yeah. Chris, we talk the easiest and laziest way possible. Yes, it's very akin to, I think the only more abbreviated language than Northern English is Jamaican Patois. It's very similar in that sense. How do I categorize my plugins? Oh, well, this is a bugbear of mine. Let me go back to, quickly, Stanley's question. Are you still here, Stanley? How do you combat writer's block? It was, wasn't it? Sorry for everyone's ears there. Hi, Castro. You know, I think that unlucky answer came from deep down. My instant response to someone saying they didn't have much time for Ableton recently because they had a child is to say unlucky, because I dodged that one. I think I deliberately chose, and have told all my partners I ain't going there because I'm making the music thing work and I don't want to rock the boat. Scots as well, yes, heavily abbreviated, Craig. So, hello Stanley, yes. Writer's block. So the first thing to know, I did a video on this, the medical reason you can't finish tracks, I believe it was called. Let me... What was the actual title of the video, in case you want to watch it? I forget the names of these because, unlike a proper YouTuber, I think of the name of the video after I've finished the video. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to plan the thumbnail and the title at the beginning, so people might click on it in the first place. That's what a proper YouTuber. There we go. Yeah, the number one scientific reason you can't finish tracks. So I go over. I can't remember the original science behind this, but I remember Seth Godin's talk most. Seth Godin's. Is it the lizard brain? It's one of these. Any of these will do. In fact, let's listen to Seth talk about lizard brain quickly. See if this is the video I am referring to.
Hi, my name is Seth Godin. I'm the author of 17 bestsellers. I've started a bunch of companies. I write a blog, but mostly I fail. I fail often.
Mostly I fail. I love him.
Because I understand that when I do something that might not work, I'm doing my best work. You know, we're animals. Animals have been on the surface of the earth for millions of years. We evolved from animals because we still are animals. And the thing about wild animals is wild animals all have something in common with us. We have the brain of a wild animal. And the brain of a wild animal wants shelter, safety, revenge, reproduction. That's it. That's what makes it a wild animal. Well, as we evolved, we added this other brain, But then we wrapped it all around this amygdala, this brain back here. It's about the size of 2 almonds. And that part of our brain, the amygdala, is the brain of a wild animal. It is hot wired to be afraid. It is hot wired to seek safety. And it saved our lives when there were saber-toothed tigers, and it saved our lives when getting thrown out of the village meant that you were going to die in the jungle. But now it's left over, but it's still there.
Yes. So, in the context of music, why am I showing you a video about a part of the brain called the amygdala? So, as he said, we're hardwired to be afraid because this is where tribal behavior comes from as well, which is also heavily related to music. And what is found and proven is that writer's block doesn't exist. And Seth, in another video, Seth said, you can prove this because no one has talker's block. No one suddenly, you don't get talker's block. We're fine saying hundreds of thousands of words every day, or whatever the actual figure is. Probably thousands, isn't it? We're fine saying thousands of words every day, but in terms of, it's more easy to compare to a book writer, blog writer, whatever. When it comes to writing those words down, that's when the problem comes. It's not about thinking about them or coming up with them. It's as soon as you have to write them down, that's the problem. Chris, thank you for the 10. I'll get to your question very soon. So writer's block is just the fear of committing. That's all it is. That's all it is. So deep, you won't be consciously aware of it, but in the back of your brain, whether it's trying to start, finish, or somewhere in between your music, somewhere in the back of your brain, the amygdala is screaming, this might not work, I'm a fraud, or one of the many other excuses it's great at coming up with. Because it has no idea that you're only creating music, even for fun. It doesn't know that. What you are doing right now, making music, if it's not directly earning you any money, then it's there's a danger there, right? You could be doing something else productive or professional, not music. There's all kinds of reasons the amygdala will be going off in the back of your brain, but yeah, it's simply the first thing to know about writer's block is it doesn't exist. So when you realize that, the second thing to pair with that is that, mathematically speaking, this is another one of Seth's great sayings, mathematically speaking, 50% of your ideas will be below average. Right? Because everything you produce can't be amazing. Everything you make won't be a banger. 50% of your ideas are below average, whatever that average is, right? So, and then you pair that with also the knowledge that no one knows what's good. You can't second guess success. Because if there was a solved route to being successful in music, everyone would be doing it. We wouldn't be working 9-to-5 office jobs, right? Or whatever else other people don't like doing. If this was solved and easy, everyone would be doing it. There would be a roadmap. And then once there was a roadmap, it wouldn't be rare and special anymore, right? So what we have to do is throw things out into the world and hope. And what you find is the more ideas you present to the world, even if you're unsure about them, you just kind of like doing them. Occasionally you'll find some other group of people will go, oh my God, I love this. But the thing is, you don't know this. Yes, Tom, this comes from a lot of Seth's things comes from The War of Art. Was it Michael Malcolm Gladwell. I can't remember who did The War of Arts. Because he gave a name to the voice in your head from the amygdala called the resistance. That's where all this comes from. Stephen Pressfield, sorry, not Malcolm Gladwell. Stephen Pressfield, the War of Art. Hey, there's a good video. Why talent doesn't matter. Probably also very relevant. So, sorry, to kind of wrap up, Stanley, when you realize writer's block doesn't exist, and then that it's only fear, and then the fact that we don't know who's going to like what we do, what you can do is that whole saying about catching fish. I can't remember how it goes, but you're not going to catch any if you don't go to the river. You have to at least turn up and make an effort. And doing music professionally becomes that way. I turn up every day and I do something and I finish something. It's like it is a job. I take it seriously. I have to put in some effort. I have to do something that day that gets finished, bad or good. And it's very scary. Every day there's always doubt. There's always what ifs. There's always the voice in the back of the head. But you have to just do it and then share it. The important thing is the more you do that, the better your average gets. The more bad tracks you finish, the better your average goes up, because you're practicing all of the steps, the finishing, the starting. So it's like anything else. What you find is it just kind of goes away. The more you practice turning up and starting, bad or good, scared or comfortable, the more you practice all of those steps, including the starting of random ideas, the more you get better at it. And that includes being creative. Coming up with ideas is actually something we're very good at once you if you don't, you see, once you realize writer's block doesn't exist, and you stop waiting for inspiration from the clouds or wherever inspiration from thin air to come, oh, I'm not feeling it today, that kind of thing. When you stop waiting for that thing to come to you, you can go to it, and you will find 1,000 its. There will always be something you can do, even if it's just, I'm going to copy another track, or I want today's song to sound like the rainfall on my window right now, or blah blah. There's a million ways you can start a thing. It has in my case, obviously I'm a music nerd, so I start with a lot of musical principles. Maybe I want to do a track with a polymeter in it, in some stupid question like, what would polymeter sound like in garage? Can you swing polymeter? Something like that. That would be an excuse to start an idea, and then I will see it through. And it might be terrible. But I tell you what, it's going to get released anyway, because I don't know if someone really likes it. So, put all that together. Trust me, you can generate inspiration as long as you realize it's not something that comes to you. You can practice and sit down, and you can, trust me, give yourself 3 hours on the clock. You set a timer for 3 hours, and you will have, you can set yourself any goal you want, right? 3 hours is a good concentration period. If you can get 3 hours in a block, you could say to yourself, piece of paper, whatever's quickest for you to get ideas down onto paper or Google Notes or whatever your format is, voice notes into your phone. Yeah, I reckon in 3 hours you could have 100 ideas. sounds mental to some people, I'm sure, but yes, that's do something like that. Practice having inspiration. It's its own thing, just like everything else. It's actually a practice. I used to be terrible at coming up with ideas and things, but it's just like anything else. The more you create, the more you become creative. I wouldn't call myself naturally creative either, despite, because I'm quite a logical, probably autistic, thinking, matter of fact kind of guy, very scientific, like yes, black or white, yes or no kind of thing. I tend to fall into very mathematical thinking patterns, and I still manage to come up with something every day. If you look at my look at the state of this, these are my video ideas, and I will sit down and write these in chunks. Now I have to do this because music is second nature to me now. Video making is very new and it's very hard for me. So this is why I'm showing you the video ideas, because I don't need music ideas. They will just come now. They will just happen. So this is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos long. The problem with this list, by the way, is most of these aren't doable in a weekend. So we should go through that and do a poll sometime, actually. How would black metal blast beats sound in Afro house? Exactly. You just don't know. Right, back to Chris's question. Thank you for the £10, Chris. Are you willing to do a Fred Again video? He's really musical, and I think you could pull off a good video. Yes. Here's a bit of dosh to chip into your food. Thank you very much. So we've discussed Fred Again a few times on the stream. My manager's certainly not a fan. I actually do like him because, yeah, he's very musical. This is the dilemma, though. This is the dilemma with Fred Again. So if I am to put... I would have to put this disclaimer in the video if I was going to do it, because I can't portray Fred Again's I can't portray Fred Again's route to success as repeatable by anyone else. If you yourself are not the nephew of who is he the nephew of again? Hang on. I've blanked. I think I blank every week on this. It's on the tip of my tongue. Brian Eno. He's a nephew of Brian Eno. And it's only with that kind of money that you get Apple to cover you when you're still on the coming up. You know what I mean? A mini Apple documentary. So that's the only issue. It's like I would like to. I suppose I could do the same thing I did with the Dead Mouse. We could just do like a pure harmony, out of context analyze video. It's a bit that side of the industry where you have to start with money to earn more money, kind of thing. It's not the route I have taken or know anything about. to be honest. He's definitely got talent. I'm not denying anything like that. Yes, finger drumming. Yeah, he's done a good Boiler Room set, yeah. The only problem is, the question mark will always be over that, is like, how did he get the Boiler Room set? You know, that kind of thing? I'm pretty sure Sammy Vergi didn't... yeah, anyway. That's my only... I don't know how to make the video, is kind of, I suppose, what I'm trying to say on Fred. It's very much up my alley because it is musically a little bit more sophisticated, if you want to use that word, than your average, maybe. But what I can't do is portray I can't then give people actionable advice saying that is the way you make popular music as a career. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different than that. Yeah, that's the other thing, Craig. You can't say, was the talent because he had the opportunity to learn, right? From his privilege, you're right. So it's just, it's not what I'd call an organic success story, which is hard for most people to replicate. He produced in pop, did he? Yep. Well, yeah, pop is hard. People kind of use pop music in a derogatory term a lot of the time, but my response is always, well, try it. So if he's had success in pop production or pop writing, then yeah, I mean, there's obviously talent there. Oh, NV's here. Hello. Have I covered anything about call and response? I did it a long time ago in one of my first melody videos. I probably need to remake that. Now I'm a little bit better at making videos. I do use it a lot subconsciously. I should probably... I've never really thought about... The hardest bit about making a video is unpacking your own thoughts. I've done some of these things for so many years that I don't think about them anymore. So I have to kind of try and understand my own thought process, which is actually quite hard. Yeah, Martin Aikens done some good stuff. Oh, that reminds me, someone... was it Martin Aiken that did We Do What We Want? Or am I thinking of Topping? I might have got those two confused. Oh, Alan Fitzpatrick I'm thinking of, sorry. I was thinking of a sound design challenge someone left, which I found was a good one. Someone wants me to do the stab from Alan Fitzpatrick's We Do What We Want. And I do remember recreating that at one point, but... Anyway, so yeah, Martin Aikens got some good stuff, yeah. I've referenced him many, many a times with the clients I work with. He always comes up. Definitely works live. The more disco I go, the more you like me. Thank you. Yeah, I did. I just found a bunch of really cool loops on Splice, soulful. So me and my manager talked about, like this one. Forgotten the name of the commenter now, but I've been back and forth with a chap on one of the comments about the really essential skill of how to put a bass line to samples, because that's a really good route into making tracks fast, but it's actually something that's a lot harder than it sounds. That was the case with most of these. It's samples and then I put the bass line to it, maybe some keys, some DJ tricks, arrangements, filters, that's about it. Trying to almost applying like Daft Punk principles to I don't know what you want to call it, soulful disco. And the commenter I was talking to said there was a tool on Spotify which could identify chords in samples, which I didn't know about. So I'd like to test that, because until you get your ear training, in which takes many years, being able to identify chords in samples, until you get that, it's really hard without long trial and errors. And the problem with trial and error is the amount of time it takes can just completely lose you the idea and the inspiration. So doing things fast is extremely important, especially for what we were talking about earlier, finishing tracks and inspiration. Being able to turn your inspirations into ideas fast is... But yeah, all these were that. This is me using the free bass plugin by Ample, bass guitar, and then just putting it over samples. Oh, found a great brass pack as well. That kind of brass is impossible to program in MIDI. Not impossible, but extremely hard. It's very rare you get a good enough brass library to be able to perform like that. So samples is certainly the way to go with brass. Mr. Brown Alliance, hello. What's your question? Can you have chords running but have the bass continually running on the tonic root? Yes, that's called a pedal. That's called a pedal note. I do actually have a video planned on this. I did it the most recent example is obviously, well, off the top of my head, is Black Coffee and who did he collab with on the Rapture? Rapture Part 3 definitely has it. Let me throw in a piano tech just quickly so I can demonstrate what we're talking about. Is it the reason the video is on hold is because I need more popular examples. The main one I always think about, which is not really relevant to the dance music space, is Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight, which is a perfect example of pedal bass. But it's not very current or relatable for... let us... So imagine our bass is on the 1. Obviously, we'll just use A. You can have your chords move. A very popular progression is 1, 7, 6. In our case, A, G, F. And they still sound fine over... Oh. Octave is important. Obviously, 1, 6, and 4 work. But your bass doesn't have to move. It's I actually use this a fair amount in... if there is a chord progression in the track, obviously there doesn't have to be, but sometimes I'll use this to build tension in like the intro or in the first verse. And then you can kind of release that tension by then suddenly letting the bass move with the chords. But yeah, this is called a pedal bass. Is the musical term, classical term, whatever you want to refer to that as. Pedal bass. In fact, a pedal tone just means basically a drone. If I was to hold this E throughout every chord, that would be a pedal tone. So that's what the Rapture does, for example. But yeah, that's a pedal bass. So yes, is the answer to your question, Mr. Brown. Alliance. In fact, oh yeah, you said it there. Move the bass notes later to the chords later in the track. Yes, I do that a fair amount. Yes, you're thinking the same as me. Yeah, yep. It's a very useful device. What did Tom ask? Talking about disco sample. Why does Purple Disco Machine sound so good? Yeah, they have a very consistent sound, don't they? Let's have a quick listen while we're... It's a bit... This is like heavy-handed disco, isn't it? Oh, 4 days ago. What's this? Paradise. Let's get demonetized. Oh, it's a teaser. 1 minute.
Contact is a song I wrote with Young Bear from...
It's not this song. Their interviews. Let's have a look at... What's your favorite, Tom? I'll bring it up in a minute. How does this bass sound so tight, Carl? Which one? Was it in one of the background tracks? Or one of the other things we listened to? You mean this? Was it in this one? Let me know. Was it in 1, 2, 3, or 4? Whoops. It's the same bass in all of them, really. In fact, it's probably the same drums. No, that one's different. That was a Reese bass type thing. I mean, that one stomps because of the disco loop on top of the kick drum. It's just smacking, and that is what dictates where I go with the bass, really. If you saw my last video on note lengths, a big part of the groove of that bass. 1am, PDM uses analog. I wouldn't say that was a factor. The analog digital arguments is a hobbyist's delight, isn't it? They love to spend hours arguing about that on forums whilst not making any music. Anyone that comes at me with it worked, it was popular because it was analog, or it sounds better because it's analog argument would, I wouldn't give them the time of day. Frankly, it's important for your the role analog plays for me is not that I use any anymore, but I still understand it because I still have the itch, if you like. The role it plays for me is workflow inspiration. And also, if you're going to spend thousands on one unit, you're going to learn it inside and out, even if it's just an EQ or a compressor. And obviously knowing your tools and what they're capable of is very, very useful. And you will inherently justify your purchase by using it a lot. I do like real synths because I like touching, controls and having live control over things in the same way that a real piano is just really inspiring to play just because of the sheer amount of vibrations around you. But that, in terms of like black and white arguments of real sound versus fake sound or digital versus analog, that's all complete nonsense for me. It files under the same camp as audiophiles in hi-fi, who actually don't know, most of them don't know what they're talking about at all in terms of how sound is generated or works. It's no different to the people who bought CD demagnetizers for $3,000 in the 90s for better CD sound. Or today we still have the equivalent, which is people are selling these routers with gold capacitors in them which make your Spotify stream higher quality. For me, it's all the same argument. It's nonsense. Even if the analog fan people know that that's nonsense, the argument's still the same for me because it's all interpolated waveforms reaching our eardrums. The magic is in the human bit, not the tool. IMO, of course. Peaking Mantis, I still don't understand mastering. When I push my mixes, it just distorts. Yes, that's because you're trying to master. And you're comparing yourself to people trying to reach minus 6 LUFS. So there's a problem itself. The goal of reaching LUFS. I instantly refer you to my how to not master video, because if you don't know my process, I pick the sounds at the beginning. I spend all the time picking the sounds at the beginning. I do some minimal mixing, and then it goes out. There's no mastering process at all in my chain. My songs, for the last 10 years, maybe 8 years. I can't remember when I started the process, like, properly. Well, I definitely discovered it 10 or 11 years ago. I stopped mastering things. Ever since I read the Bob Katz book, in which Bob Katz, the legendary mastering engineer, himself quoted, "The best mixes don't need mastering." I don't even know what my loves are. I mean, this is soulful disco. Like, here's half the problem. Imagine aiming for -6 lufs in this genre. What would that mean? It'd be absolutely nonsense. I don't even know where these tracks are. Oh, sorry, I'm not in. I need to put that directly on the track. -10's fine for something this chill. What about some of my let's have a look. Where's that? Let's have a look. -8. That's not too bad. You're not hearing it at full volume, by the way. I'm saving your ears, but that's full. -7.4. So that's with absolutely no mastering. So inherently, by me telling you that, hopefully some alarm bells are going off and you're realizing the process is the problem, not the mastering bit. I don't use parallel compression mostly, JM, no. Not in EDM, no. The thing everyone forgets in this genre is 99.9% of the sounds have no dynamics already. What are you achieving by squashing them? Even if you add that squash back to the original, if you try to compare those at equal volume, which is where a lot of people fall down as well, they don't do equal volume comparisons. I bet if you compared most of your processes that you're achieving, EQ, compression, parallel compression, distortion, no matter what it is, if you actually compared it at real equal volume, you mostly find it's doing more damage than good. Actually, circling back to the analog argument, this is largely where some of the false information comes from on that front as well, because it's very hard to do equal volume comparisons when on some analog processors. They just don't facilitate it within the unit itself. There are even processors, digital and analog, which deliberately add half a dB just on, or take away half a dB when it's supposed to be bypassed. I'll tell you when I've probably gone higher than that as well, actually. I mean, my techno tracks would probably be... yeah, I bet the garage is quite low, because garage is very spiky, right? I mean, this type of garage, two-step. Yeah, mine's 9. Afro will be pretty low. This trancey one, what was this? Touchy -7, fine. Like I say, I don't look at these numbers. The point is I'm referencing from the very beginning of the process. So every sound I pick and every level I adjust is the same as the reference. So by the time you're finished with your track, you're already at the same as a mastered reference. And therefore you don't have to do anything on the master bus. All you have to do is manage distortion, which is usually sorted out by your making sure your side chains are correct on your sub frequencies. And that's about it, really. But you shouldn't be aiming for LUFS at all. Just make it sound great and reasonably in the ballpark of your references. The problem is you're probably not referencing from early enough in the process. But watch my video called How to Not Master. Anyway, yes. Rant over. Parallel compression. I'll tell you when I do, I mentioned this last week. I'm restoring an old project of mine. The girl who sang the Wicked Game cover that went viral for me, Seren, we did a little project because we were both fans of bands like Nine Inch Nails, No Doubt, Snake River Conspiracy, that kind of thing. So we did, I'm restoring an old project that was 10 years old. Now I've spent 10 years making EDM. I thought it would be good to go back to those old tracks, which I still love the tracks, but they used to sound terrible. So now I actually know how to make good mixes with good bottom end. I wanted to go back to them. And this is kind of a mix of it, rock and electronica. There's a lot of distortion. The vocals are parallel distorted and things like that. So this has a lot of what I don't advise in the usual EDM tutorials. Like there's a tape emulator on the master bus, the free one by Variety of Sound. There's parallel compression and distortion because it's a real bass guitar. Some of the drums are, well, they're not technically real. They're from a plugin, but they're acoustic. But it's this kind of stuff. It's very noisy. Deliberately trash sounding snare drum. That's heavily parallel compressed. Because I wanted that. It's actually compressed at a certain frequency to bring out that terrible ring on purpose. Hello, Binary Solo. Another rant. Don't worry. It's just the one about mastering. Red. Mastering my music would first require I finish the music, yes.
Until you lose control. Oh, spin the gun, it's time to play. I get off from this dangerous game. We're dying 1 minute at a time. So I'll take this body for a ride. Breathing in so fast that I'm hurting.
Where are we at here?
And I can't come down from this game of roulette. The gun is in my mouth. I pull the trigger, I'm dead. And I can't come down. The voices in my head tell me it's too late.
-5.
Because it's too late. And I can't be saved.
But this is the thing with heavily distorted genres. The average levels are going to be higher. Context is everything.
Spin faster till it's all
Anyway, it's all that kind of stuff. It's very, very noisy. But again, not aiming for any numbers. I didn't look at them. It's probably my favorite one. Good bass guitar rattle on this one. Again, another trash snare.
I'm taking you to my world.
What's my preferred way to do parallel compression? I just use the mix control on the compressor. And I think Dan Worrell did something about this recently. You have to... certain compressors get this very wrong. I think he called out Soft Tube for this, which is a problem I had with their compressors. But you need to make sure that the compressor... let's do... I know Kotelnikov behaves well. One of the best compressors. One of the best transparent compressors, anyway. Tokyo Dawn's Kotelnikov. Yes, it's supposed to sound distorted. The voice is distorted. It's not that fat of a sausage when you zoom in. Look. That's why you can hear the drum peaks. But again, there's very few dance genres that I would recommend. This isn't a club mix for people to dance to, right? Big difference. I am conscious of grooving this one because I want that. Yeah, Techno got it. That bass is supposed to be very Korn, like the band Korn. It's drop B. It's a 5-string. For those of you who know about bass guitars, I keep forgetting which audience I'm talking to. But yeah, distorted vocals, attitude.
You can't save.
So parallel compression is it. This is the best way of doing it, in my opinion. Separate dry, separate wet. You've got on when it's a mixed dial. The problem if it's like let me use Ableton's own just for now. Actually, let me just find another one. What have I got? Someone asked me about organizing plugins earlier on, didn't they, as well? Remind me about that one, because I hate the way VST3 works. Actually, I think Molotov does it well as well. This has got a mix style, hasn't it? No, it's got a dry mix. What's got a mix wet? That's not got it. Does the Klanghelm one have a mix?
You can't save.
Yes. Right, so let's just see if this one behaves correctly.
You can't save.
Let's get some compression going. Right, good. Yeah, this one does it correctly. So the danger with a lot of compressors is when you have zero mix, the output of the compressor should not contribute.
You can't save.
And you'll find even big companies get this wrong. Because you want to be able to mix in the amount of compression after it's been adjusted in gain. Because if you want to super squash this and only mix in a little bit, you don't have to have this volume up.
You can't save.
Or when you're 50-50ing, you can judge your bypass properly. Like that. But so many processors, like the ones Dan showed in his video, like Soft Tube and things, the output of the compressor is still adjusting the dry signal, which is a terrible way of doing things. So, in terms of how my preferable way of doing parallel compression, hopefully with a plugin which lets you judge it properly, for starters. And secondly, if you're talking about in terms of sending somewhere, I never use sends anyway. For speed, it's always going to be an insert for me. So, in the case of a lot of... Actually, yes, the plugin I use, Rough Rider, it was. This doesn't behave properly. I still used it though because it's extreme. This will just crush to the point of distortion. So for the sake in the case of that snare I mentioned that was really ringing. You see, watch this. Dry signal. Oh no, sorry, this one does behave because it's got a separate makeup gain for the compression. Sorry, this one is correct, yes. So I can just mix in as much of that crush as I want. If you're using parallel compression for crush, obviously there's a million ways to use tools. In my case, I was using it to crush things, but anyway. Always reference more. Big King Mantis, yes. Again, watch the video on how not to compress. I mean, sorry, how to not master your tracks. What was it called? The thumbnail is no mastering needed. It's this one. That one. It's done rather well for me, actually. 37,000 views. I think it opened a lot of people's eyes. But yeah, it's not distorted because you do the distortion as in not apply distortion, but you sort the distortion out during the making of the track. And a large part of that is just getting the bottom end to sidechain well. And be clean at the low end because the subs are where all the energy pool is. So as soon as you get those right, everything else on top tell you what, can you hear me through this? For now. While I sort my sound out. I don't know what's going on. OBS is suddenly just not receiving a mic signal at all. 1 2 1 2. No, not that. I might have to restart OBS, guys. This is me speaking through the door, which is incredibly delayed on my end due to the way I need to stream. Actually, let me check something. Configure audio. Are we on RME? Yes, we are. Okay. I've disabled all the plugins on the vocal chain. Nothing coming through. Yeah, it's just, it recognizes the input. There's just nothing there. Yep. Shall we just carry on like this for now? I think we're going to have to, aren't we? Let me try one restart. Throw a reverb on the mic track. Maybe a phaser. Weird. It's not done this yet, has it? I wonder what's going on. All right, let me restart the stream.